Hey guys, what's up? This is Jesse, and in this tutorial we're going to do an AJAX load, and this is pretty cool. I'm going to show you the page fragment part also, so try to pay attention. To load, we just use the load function, and we specify where we want to load. We could just do it in the body. Just for this tutorial, I'll just make a div ID of content. And we'll just load it in content because, you know, for the most part, I don't think we'll ever just load the entire body unless it's like 100% AJAX application. And then load. What are we going to load? Let's create a new file. And I'll just say junk. And I'll save it as junk.php. Okay. And what am I going to load? I'm going to load junk.php. And if we want to see a callback or something, we can type function alert. Let me put this on other lines so it's not so confusing to read. Function alert 1, and if it loads, we get the alert there. Good, and then boom. So it looks like that happens before it loads. Anyways, we're not gonna do that. So that loads, just say junk.php. You know, you could put anything in here like actual PHP code and HTML code. Let's just make a test div, and how about a an other div? And this is just to show you the fragments of loading. So we're just going to load junk.php, and we have this. Okay. Now, if we only want to load a certain part of it, let's just load other. How about? Okay. You would just, after this, you just do the # for the ID of other and refresh, and that's what you get. It looks like it even skips the actual PHP here. It only loads this little block. So that could be really useful for tabbing through information and making this a dynamic selector, but that's a whole nother task in itself. There's another load, or it's not really load, it's called get, and we can do get junk.php and refresh, and it did not work. And that is because this is actual AJAX thing, so that's system-wide. You don't use a call in there. We do $.get and the page, and then we set the parameters within here, usually within a function. And now we put the results, let's say, back into content .html. And the data, basically this is saying get junk.php, okay? And it's getting all of this, and then it's not doing anything yet, but it returns it, and we want it to return it in this variable. And let's call it contents. And then inside of content, actually I'm going to call this just data so it's not so confusing. So data is the content inside this file here, and we're going to put the data inside the HTML of the content div. Okay. Now this might look confusing, and it might look like, well, why would you ever do this and not just use load? Well, let me refresh. Okay, it loads. A good reason to use get might be if you need to pass in certain parameters, and let's say in the PHP code up here, if isSet requests age. So if the age is requested, you know, something could actually happen. I'll just say echo age was requested. Okay, let me get rid of that. And so, you know, if you refresh this, it's not going to show that, but you can actually put this in the URL and type age and refresh it, and you can send requests through get. Or you could actually use get itself and refresh. So the two are different, and using load is fine. There's also a load if modified, but I'm not going to get into too many details here. I think that's pretty good for now. Just don't brush this one off. This is actually really useful. Just because it's bigger and more confusing, try to get a hang of it. Let's just, for fun, real quick, I'll just make a button, input type equals submit, and let's just give it an ID real quick. ID equals test, and let's say when test dot click function, okay, and then we'll pop this in here. So this doesn't have to just be a global thing that happens. You can have it so when you click it, it loads it. And hopefully that'll turn some wheels and get you thinking. Thanks for watching the tutorial.